go. And we are Vansona.
Behind every garage band, there is a story. The year 2004 was the year of humble beginnings for Vansona, a hardcore thrash band from Zanesville, Ohio.
When I was younger, I was in a poppy punk band, and I was a bass player and the singer, and I loved to sing. And when that band broke up, I won't lie to you, I was devastated. And I started playing acoustic guitar, writing my own songs, and this band that was Uprising, this was probably maybe 5 years ago, asked me if I would sing pretty parts for some of their songs, and they were a heavy band. I guess you could technically call it a hardcore band if you want to put it into a genre. And I went to a couple practices, tried it out.
It was in this band called And She Falls where Kyle would meet Elijah Funk.
A lot of band members joined, one being Elijah, who is the bass player now in Vansona. And he played keyboards, and it's funny to think that he and I weren't real close at the time. We barely knew each other. We saw each other only in practice, and now we're like best friends. We seriously do consider each other brothers. But anyway, we decided to start making a little side project, which is now Vansona. And he played bass, and I kind of messed around with keys a little bit, maybe a synth and whatnot. And Elijah's brother Levi, we asked him to play guitar, and then I had a friend who played drums, and we practiced a couple times, realized that we kind of liked what we were doing.
We had like a whole bunch of like ideas, and we just went into Brandon's garage, and we're like, okay, we're going to do one song right now. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of came out, which was our first song was David Hasselhoff used soap on a rope, but Baywatch got canceled, so stick to the liquid.
That first song was written in all of 30 minutes, and just 3 weeks later they had written their first set, which included 5 songs, and were off to play their very first show at the Zanesville YMCA. Kyle and Elijah had left the band that they were playing in because they were enjoying their new side project so much that they wanted to make it their main focus. The band had an established sound from the very beginning, which Levi describes as spaz grind off-time stuff that's built heavy and loud, while Kyle calls it dance beaty, spastic, and arty. However, they both agree that their sound has changed over the years.
Vansona actually didn't used to sound like it does now.
Okay. It started to get louder and faster as we progressed, and less on the technical side. Mm-hmm. Like our new album's just straight up thrash.
One element that remains constant in Vansona's sound is lead singer Kyle's distinct screaming, but he prefers not to label it as such.
I don't really call it screaming. I call it a different way, an opportunity to express oneself and emotions, kind of like art. And I also don't scream. I use my abdominal muscles to force air through, and I use the dynamics of that to change it. Whereas I'm not really, using my throat as much. And I won't lie to you, I definitely need a microphone to help provoke the volume. Yeah.
Kyle never thought growing up that one day he would be, quote, screaming in a band. It wasn't until one day when he was singing for one of And She Falls songs where he discovered his new style.
I sang during their melodic breakdowns and whatnot. And one day, I don't know what came over me, but I was so compelled, and my emotions had heightened to a point where I screamed. And I remember that day, the music just stopped, and everyone in the band looked at me and they're like, "What in the world was that?" And I said, What do you mean?" They're like, "You screamed." I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." They're like, "No, we liked it. Keep doing it."
His newly discovered technique carried over into his transition into Vansona, where he was first referred to as a barking dog. He has developed this technique to a point that's uncontrollable at times, and although the average listener may not be able to recognize Vansona's song lyrics underneath their heavy sound, Kyle Jones assures that he's not improvising. He spearheads most of the band's lyric writing, a job he takes very seriously.
No, I'm not making stuff up at all. Actually, someone asked me that once before, and I kind of chuckled a bit. Yeah. Not in sarcasm, but it took me aback for instance, and it's kind of like, are you serious? I mean, I don't play an instrument in the band, so I take great pride in the lyrics of our songs. But the personification and inflection that's behind every word that I say it's distinct. I mean, it's very discreet. You can hear what I'm saying. I'm always, I guess, writing in my head. It's just something I'm so passionate about that I can't stand to not be doing it.
As a band, Les Vansona is collectively inspired by a wide range of musical influences, from Elijah and Kyle's fondness of The Smiths to current drummer Dean Ingram's allegiance to Blink-182's Travis Barker. Each band member brings a different musical taste to the table. Levi's influences are often indicated in his guitar parts.
You can definitely tell what I've been listening to the guitar parts to our new songs. Like, one of them, you can tell that I was listening to Slayer. Another one, you can tell I was listening to Black Flag a lot. Another one, you can tell I was listening to Charlie Mingus, jazz bassist. We all listen to weird stuff at the same time, and I listen to more jazz now than I did before, so I'm putting more jazz chords in it.
Les Vansona's songwriting process is a collaborative effort. Through this process, they are all open-minded to suggestions from one another.
We all come in with riffs, but at the same time, we think, okay, what's the most badass song we can do? And we go in and play, and we'll bounce ideas off of each other. Most of the time, it's me playing a riff, and then I just play that again.
And then we all just kind of like spit out little ideas, or like if somebody is on to something, we kind of just like carry with it, or like tell them to alter that and then change it to this.
Kyle is comfortable with leaving a lot of the music writing up to the rest of the guys.
Now, if I disagree with something or think something's a bad idea, they're pretty open to the idea of changing that or altering it. But I guess I have a lot of faith and trust in them, and they're good musicians. So usually that's very rare that I disagree.
Les Vansona has a sort of chemistry about them now, but it wasn't always this way. Original drummer Brandon Bankus left the band after about 8 months unannounced. Then, Brandon's brother Braden took over. It was with Braden whom they recorded their first CD with. Braden stuck around long enough to be able to play with the band on their second CD, Carpet Burn Innards. However, it wasn't too much longer after the recording when he followed in his brother's footsteps and eventually left the band, leaving Les Vansona without a drummer for the new CD's release show. It was then when they asked mutual friend Dean Ingram to play with them for that show, although he wasn't the featured drummer on the record.
Well, I've always been their friends through, I've been to shows and, knew the songs anyway. And, I'm friends with the old drummers. I'm still, I still hang out with them. And I just started, I was like, hey, let me play drums for your band, because I knew that Braden, their old drummer, wasn't, he was, I don't know, he was still in the band and I was playing shows with them, which was weird, but he finally quit and then I just became their permanent drummer.
Braden's last performance would be Les Vansona's first defining moment as a band after a year and a half. They were playing on the Muskingum County Courthouse steps when the Great American Race made a stop along Old National Road. They had reached the pinnacle of their career as a band thus far.
We just all looked at each other and yep, we just played in front of 1,000 old people and they kind of liked it at the same time.
Then, during the summer of 2008, they crowded themselves and one extra person into Elijah's soccer mom-style minivan, along with all of their equipment, 4 12-inch speakers, a 2x15 cabinet, a drum set, and 2 guitar heads, and embarked upon their very first tour. They toured through Ohio, Indiana, and Pennsylvania for a week and a half, playing a show every night. They stopped in places like Clifton Heights in Cincinnati and Fort Wayne, Indiana. The tour brought the band closer together than they had ever been before.
Over the past, I'd say, year, this band has gotten a lot tighter and a lot closer. Like I said, tour was just amazing. We all, a week after tour when we got home, we were still hanging out, every night, and it was just awesome.
While Les Vansona plays an important role in the lives of every band member, they have many other interests and passions outside of the band, such as collecting random items, getting tattoos, going to school, and skateboarding. For Elijah, he is especially passionate about animal rights and being vegan.
I mean, the idea of meat is disgusting. But as far as vegan, the dairy industry and the egg industry is, to me, just as bad. because of like the treatment, and then like a lot of the byproducts from support the meat industry, like baby calves from the dairy farms are turned into veal, and then like repeated impregnation, sickness, and then just general treatment is just as bad, if not worse sometimes, in the actual meat industry. Pollution reasons, and then deforestation, things like that. It's pretty disgusting.
What else am I passionate about besides leaving Vansona? Well, school. I love school. So much that I'm not leaving. The first 2 years I was undecided, and then last year I actually decided to go ahead and go with something I've always been passionate about, and that's mathematics. I love math, and like I mentioned, I'm not leaving the school because I plan on teaching.
As far as the Vansona's future is concerned, members and fans alike are hopeful that they will continue to stay together as a band, but at the same time they realize that they are getting older and will soon have full-time careers.
I think everyone would like to see it keep going forever. I mean, we're all getting older. You know, we're all gonna have, rather than, you know, minimum wage jobs, we're gonna all start taking on careers, and who knows? No one knows where that's gonna take us, and no one can predict the future.
I mean, if anything, we're just gonna keep going forward.
I fully intend on being active in music as long as I can. I mean, and I don't really see myself doing any other types of music. I'm not gonna like wimp out.
I just hope that they maybe catch somebody's eye and get out there and do what they love to do for a long time.
Hopefully they'll be getting more attention and going out and like venturing out and doing a lot more things rather than just, I mean, they play a lot in Columbus and the Ohio area, but hopefully they'll be able to like go out and like, you know, the surrounding states and then, you know, go from there.
Whatever the future may hold, it is clear that Vansona has made their mark on the local hardcore music scene and has Stank, Stunk their way into the hearts and minds of fans and friends everywhere.